Alright, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Yamcast. Today is episode 46. How do I know that? I just looked at the screen and cheated. So I've been doing that lately. I don't want to look dumb in front of you guys. Today we've got news from, who guessed it? Harley Davidson. It seems like the Yamcast is turning into a Harley cast at this point. It's kind of ridiculous. And then what is our second bit of news, Spite?
Our second bit of news comes from a study following up on dealerships. What dealerships are selling the most bikes?
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then it's a light bit of news, and then we're going to jump into the call-in section of our podcast. We are talking GP this week. MotoGP, also Moto2 or Moto3 or whatever you want to talk about. Racing is the topic for today's call-in section. And then finally, we've got a meme contest at the end of it. We asked the folks over on Discord to develop thumbnails for us. We thought that would be fun. Stick around. It's going to be a good one. Alrighty, Spite, lead us off with the first bit of Harley news, I guess we got it. They always make waves, don't they?
Yep. So, the first thing that we're talking about today is the fact that Harley Davidson is officially spinning LiveWire into its own all-electric brand. So,
What? Give me your absolute gut impression on this.
my gut impression on this is that Harley has done this so that they can sunset the LiveWire.
Ooh.
I honestly believe that they thought investment in the LiveWire, continued investment in the LiveWire, was dumb and it was hurting the brand because they can't get away from the boomer bikes.
Yeah.
And they've decided to spin LiveWire off so it's someone else's problem, and if it dies, they can just let it go like Buell.
Yeah. I want to read the press release in my most Harley voice that I can. Are you ready?
Yep.
LiveWire is more than a motorcycle. LiveWire plans to redefine electric, delivering the best experience for the urban rider with personality and soul. LiveWire creates a unique connection between rider and vehicle. Today, the next chapter in the LiveWire journey begins. God, that's cringe. I'm not gonna lie.
That's really brutal.
Yeah.
The main thing that I see being a problem here is that they only got the one motorcycle.
Yeah, they've just got the one bike.
And it's
the LiveWire.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it's a $29,799 motorcycle.
It kind of reminds me of when Ram became its own brand separate from Dodge, and then people were confused as to whether like the Ram 1500 was going to be called the Ram 1500, you know? And it's still not great because like Ram still only makes trucks and they got the little vans, I guess. But yeah, that might be the same fate for this. It's like they have the LiveWire, you know?
But the thing is one of the cool things about the LiveWire was that it still said Harley on the side of the not tank.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that Harley badging. That's kind of the point of buying a Harley at this point.
Yeah, especially for the price tag they're commanding. There's no brand cachet with LiveWire.
And honestly, there ain't no electric bike out there that is worth 30 G's.
No.
None. Not one. I don't understand where Harley Davidson, what they're smoking, thinking that they can sell this motorcycle for 30.
Especially when they can build something like the Pan America and sell it for 19.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck what's the point?
That's ridiculous. This thing should be like $1,500.
It should be $5,000.
It should be $15,000, I think. 15 to 18.
I feel like 17.5 should be where it sits. 30's insane. I tend to agree. My gut is that they're doing this so that they can distance themselves from the Harley Davidson thing and then be like, LiveWire? We never heard of LiveWire. Who's that? What are you talking about? You know,
even though
like,
it's literally going to have the Harley Davidson clamshells and the the Sportster mirrors.
Yeah, it's a bit silly.
I don't understand. Like, aside from literally just letting this die, I can't think of a good reason for them to have done this.
I can't either, unless somehow miraculously they use all those awesome Harley resources and they just whip out like 2 or 3 more electric vehicles in that time frame. But I can't see that happening.
I guess it's going to kind of turn into like a Zero where they're all kind of the same bike but with different setups inside.
Yeah.
You know, like the FR SFR. Which one was the one that
It
we
was
had?
a lot of letters. We had the Zero SRF.
SRF, that's the one.
FX ones are kind of like the dual sporty ones.
And those are really small, really
Yeah.
light, with a tiny battery. They're really meant for like city cruising. And then they have the S, which is kind of your middle entry weight sort of one.
Yeah. I have to read you this from chat. Germany2Boy said, Harley used LiveWire. It's not very effective. Harley damaged itself in confusion.
They think that this new guy Zeitz, Jochen Zeitz, seems to believe that, or at least they're saying that here, that Harley can spin this off and lead the new electric world, and no, they can't.
You know what it reminds me of, Spike? It reminds me of when Harley thought they could spin off another brand and lead the world in sport motorcycles and other adventure-style offerings. Do you remember that brand? It was a little something called Buell, and it didn't go so great. There's a lot of reasons for that, but yeah, I don't ever really see this spin-off thing working very well.
Especially because there is no character behind it like Buell.
No, and also if you can scroll down, we can see the bike here. That looks terrible. That LiveWire logo on that side there, that doesn't look like something I want to own, man. Like, that looks cheap as hell.
I would rather have a Harley Davidson logo.
Yeah, you might as well just make it a Harley. That way, at least when you pull up at a gas station, you'd be like, damn, that's a Harley? That's crazy. You know? Versus, what the fuck is that?
I think this is literally just something only a motorcyclist would know.
Yeah.
But this is
Loop TJ on stream here says, and LimeWire sounds better. Maybe not better than some Harleys. I say the LimeWire is the one we need to go. Do you remember that download service way back in the day?
The LimeWire is Kawasaki's electric offering.
Yes. The Kyle Wire. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is just Harley's way of sweeping this under the rug and being like, LiveWire, never heard of it, you know?
This is just a whoopsie daisy.
Yep. Yeah.
Bummer, but not unexpected, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, with our Harley required content out of the way, what is the next piece of news we've got?
So the next piece of news is a study, if I can close this down, which asks which dealerships actually respond to their customers. So they had these mystery shoppers inquire about vehicles at 6,407 power sports dealerships across the U.S., and
I didn't know that were that many dealerships. That's crazy.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, which ones were the best at getting back to their customer? Polaris, Indian, Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
If you give Harley Davidson your email, they will hunt you down like an ex-girlfriend.
Which makes sense. You like say what you will about Harley, and it's weird we're talking about them again, but I have heard nothing but amazing things about their customer service.
Yes.
Right? Like, they do a good job with that. They make you feel special. They're going to follow up with you because they're trying to get, I mean, they can finance damn near anybody because they got their own financing arms.
Yep. They do a great job of selling bikes. And whenever you buy a bike at a Harley dealer, it feels like a freaking party. It doesn't matter if it's a used bike, a new bike, whatever, it's a party.
I imagine that, like, you walk in and that little, like, yell from The Who that we used is just like, yeah! And then the jacket just goes on. Everyone's just, like, patting your back and stuff. People cracking open beers.
I remember when I bought my street rod at Harley Davidson. I did it during Rot Rally. And the sales guy I was working with, because they were having this big party for Rot Rally at our dealership. And he walks up and grabs this mic and he's like, oh, this guy Spite here just bought a 2017 Street Rod 750. And then you ring a bell. The whole dealership turns and claps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just kind of want to go.
I'd like to be on my way, please.
But yeah, I mean, this really mirrors my experience in buying bikes at Harley dealers, Japanese power sports focused dealers, and KTM. Yeah. I've bought from all three of those dealerships, and the Harley guys really chase you down. And when I went to go buy from the Kyle store, the guy showed up. I left one day and he was like, okay, bye. And then I showed up the next day and he was like, oh, you're back. Okay, cool. You want the bike? And I was like, no, you're going to give me this offer. And then he was like, And then I went to go buy at, Japanese power sports dealer where they're really, they can sell a lot of bikes and you have to really fight with those guys.
Yeah.
So.
Now, who was the dealerships that were the worst?
Let's see here.
I think I just saw
flunking
it
the tests. Individual dealerships scored on 100. 44% of individual dealerships in the study scored below 30.
Oh, I think it's the paragraph above. It says, Honda, Kawasaki, Triumph, or Yamaha dealers sent an email or text answering a website customer's question only about 30% of the time on average in both 2019 and 2021. Oof. That's not good. But to your point, they probably got so many people wanting to come buy bikes that it doesn't really matter.
They don't need to chase people down.
Yeah, that's what we have with our local dealer here in Austin. Like, you got to come to them. They don't give a shit. They're just like, you want to buy the bike? Buy the bike. If not, I got 5 more guys who are going to buy it.
Yeah, why do the legwork on one when you can probably upsell the next guy?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, and it kind of reflects the individual markets that these people are operating in, because Harley Davidson is like, please buy the motorcycle.
Like, we really need you to buy this goddamn motorcycle at 12.99% for this $30,000 Road Glide or whatever the hell.
But what's interesting is that Indian was doing this. We talked last week about how
Huge
they're doing
sales.
so well in sales. So this is kind of an interesting thing where it seems like they're doing really well sales wise, but they're also putting in the footwork to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's because Harley they still have a hard time selling bikes.
Yeah.
But it's just weird how the two companies work so differently.
Yeah. Someone in chat here just put out, and I remember telling you about this. We're talking about, buying bikes and dealerships and stuff. And since it's a light news week, we'll discuss this. Do you remember the guy on Discord who had the bill of sale for a $14,000 Triumph Trident?
Yup.
He will remain unnamed. We're not trying to put you on blast, but someone on our Discord put up a bill of sale where they agreed to buy a $14,000 Triumph Trident 660. Now, keep in mind, this is an $8,000 motorcycle, so somewhere along the way between tax, title, license, dealer fees, freight, prep, dock fees, your mom came down and also charged you something so she collected an old debt on you. $6,000 worth of added fees. I've never seen anything like that.
No, and
It was $895 for freight and $795 for prep. $800 to prep it?
Nope.
At a tech who's like $80 an hour, it took him 10 hours to prep the bike.
Was he like building it out of Legos?
Yeah, I know, right? That's unbelievable. But this guy, I think, was in New York, and I've heard that in New York it can be a little tough too. It can be a little more expensive. But yeah, you guys, we might make a video about this because you gotta be careful when you're looking at that final bill of sale. Like, you gotta look at that final number. You can't just think like, oh, I'm gonna put this money down and this is my payment. You gotta look at the last number on the bill of sale. Golly, might be the worst one I've seen.
Yeah, and
almost doubled the price of the bike.
Yeah, that's crazy.
$14,000 for a Triumph Trident.
That bike is not worth 14 G's.
No, what can you get for $14,000?
Street Triple RS.
Street Triple RS, yeah, all day. I'm so sorry, man.
I think you can even walk away with an MT10 free and clear for 14 G's.
Actually, probably. Yeah, I think they retail for 13.
Yeah, 12,999.
So you can finagle a little negotiating, maybe pay cash. Yeah, you could definitely get an MT10 for 14. You could have gotten an MT10. That's terrible, man. Yeah, $14,000. But, these Triumph, Yamaha, Honda dealers, as we're showing here, they don't have any problem selling bikes even at way above market value. And to Harley's problem, they have trouble selling their bikes sometimes because they're so expensive, demand is lower, and their customer base is dying, as we've said many times. So that can be a little bit tough. Yeah. I think that's all the news for this week, though,
that is
right?
all the news I have.
Yeah, we only have to. You're like, I've exhausted all my news for you, sir. I'm so sorry.
Unless we want to pull up the next Harley.
I really don't. We've talked so much about Harley on the Yamcast. We got to move on because we are trying to transition this, may or may not, into a MotoGP podcast, which a lot of people are very into. So we are now going to move over to the call-in section of our podcast, start talking some GP. Alright, everyone, welcome to the call-in portion of the Yamcast. You guys know the drill. If you are part of our Discord, if you join over on yamnoob.co, you can watch these podcasts happen live on stream here on YouTube. We have a very cool, intimate little group that we hang out with, and it's a lot of fun. And that way, you can also call us in and be featured on the Yamcast as well. So if you want to join up, hit the link down below on yamnoob.co and become a member. Join our Discord. I promise you it's worth it. It's a lot of fun, and it's honestly one of the best parts about this whole rigmarole that we do here on YouTube. Without further ado, for those of you on Discord land, if you press and hold Spite's name or you right-click his name, you will call us in, and we are talking about MotoGP or racing this week. Let's go.
Starting us off, I thought that was going to be German A2 boy.
He sent you a photo of a Lego.
Yeah, that's like a little Lego dirt bike.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, never mind.
Millennial Malaise.
Hey there, Millennial Malaise. You are on the Yamcast. How's it going?
Yep. Sorry about that. Have my push to talk on.
Oh, that's okay. So we were talking GP or racing. Do you have anything to chime in on that?
I actually just started watching GP this year, and I was kind of curious, as someone who's just started, what sort of like knowledge and insights did you all start like gaining as you started watching GP over the years?
Man, there's so much. For me, I think what was so interesting as I kind of started watching GP a few years ago, which I'm kind of green to GP myself. I think I started really getting into it about 2 years ago, and really started like getting into it last year was when I really got into it. But the thing that I really learned is that it's such a team effort. I used to think that it was really just like these riders, and it's like he had like an amazing weekend and he just did super well, but there's so much in the background with like tire selection, bike setup, all kinds of stuff that really kind of brings the whole thing together. Spite, what about you?
Yeah, so I really started following it hardcore last year because I casually watched some of the races. I attended GP here in Austin a couple of times just for fun. But the biggest thing that I started trying to pay attention to was not just like the lead group. I tried because it was you see your Marquez's and your Mirs and your Rinses all in the front a lot of times. The names that the household names, but there's so much going on in the middle of the pack, and it took me a long time to realize that. No, Tito being in the back of the line does not mean he's bad. It means that he's the 20th best or 22nd best rider in the world.
Yeah,
which is incredible. And it took me a while to get that through my thick skull.
Yeah,
that even in the back of the pack, there's a ton of interesting shit going on.
And Rossi's in the back of the pack now, so
yeah,
for better or for worse.
Poor Rossi.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the old, like, you ever, like, watch a football game and there's always that one guy who's like, I could have kicked that field goal. Like,
yes. Yeah, yeah. You get a lot of bench racers in GP too being like, oh, he should have passed here, should have done that. I'm like, you do know he's on a 300 horsepower, like, factory race bike, right? Like, it's not easy. You just twist your wrist, right? You just go fast.
I mean, the thing that blows my mind still, and it's when they switch to the front wheel angle or the rear wheel angle when they're in mid-turn and somebody's getting ready to do a pass.
Dude.
It's so close, and I'm like, yeah. It scares the shit out of me just watching it at home.
Yeah. It's funny because having dabbled in club racing last year, getting to that, the level at which they ride, they are inches away from each other, millimeters sometimes. I got to the point where I was comfortable being about maybe 6 inches away from somebody. And at that point I was like, please don't screw up. You know what I mean? Like, but those guys all trust each other so much, and everyone's doing the exact same thing that, yeah, they can just ride close like that. But it's crazy when you see like someone's front wheel just like millimeters from someone's fairing. You're like, oh my God, dude.
Yup.
Yeah. So did you start watching this year, Millennial Malaise?
Yeah, I just started watching this year. I'd watched like small like highlights over the years of like Marquez, Rossi, like the household names, but I never really got into it. But like, yeah, this year's been really exciting.
Yeah, I feel like right now we are living in a golden era of GP. I think the top 15 is separated by just like a handful of seconds, which is just crazy. So you never know what's going to happen on any given weekend. Someone could get unlucky. Someone could get super lucky. It's like the top 3 are always kind of shuffling and changing. It's not like there's always the same guy winning over and over and over again. It kind of used to be that way with Marquez. Like in 2019, it was like you just show up to a weekend, you're just like, Marquez is going to win. Like, it is what it is. But, yeah, it's a great time to be watching some racing.
Yeah, so I'll leave you all to it. It was great to call in.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man.
Next race.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll watch it at Le Mans.
All right, have a good one.
All right, see ya. All right. That's someone else on the line here.
Next up is 7-round burst.
Yes. 7-round burst. You are on the Yamcast. Let's talk GP.
What's up, guys?
I think is this your first time calling?
What's that?
Is this your first time calling? I can't remember.
No, I called to ask you about intermediate middleweights a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
If anybody out there has Video Pass and they're not watching Moto3, just watch it.
Oh my
It's the
God,
Acosta
yes.
show at this point, but it is such good watching. It's just ridiculous. My question though is about the Yamaha bike and what has happened. What happened in 2020 with the Yamaha bike, and have they fixed everything at this point? Like, it seems like nothing happened.
It's crazy what's going on with Yamaha because you look at someone like Maverick Vinales and it's like it shouldn't happen, right? Where like he wins one weekend in Qatar and then literally he's in 17th place at the next race weekend, right? You talk about inconsistencies with the motorcycle. That's what it kind of looks like. And yet, Frankie's out there on a 2-year-old 2019 spec Yamaha catching podiums, right? So I think Yamaha doesn't have necessarily a bike problem. They kind of have a rider problem at this point. That's just my take on the Yamaha. It's proven itself to be a fantastic motorcycle. Fabio's doing great with it. Morbidelli does great with it. It just looks like half of the field, half of the team, Rossi and Vinales can't really piece it together. But that's just my bench racer take on it. Spike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me like just Mavericks, he does really, really well when he's trying to qualify, and then he just blows every start.
I'm telling you, he needs to get on Ducati.
Yeah.
He needs to get the whole shot.
Yep, get the Ducati whole shot device.
Yeah, you're going to say something, 7-round burst?
Well, I was just going to say, it seems like maybe in hindsight, we're going to look back at the 2020 season as being an outlier. And what you said, I think, about the golden era is completely true. 2020 was such a crazy season. And it feels like 2021 just kind of picked up right where 2020 left off. So
Yes.
It's just amazing watching right now. It's such good content.
It's so good, man. It's like you were saying, too, the Moto3 stuff. Again, if you guys out there on YouTube or Streamlane, you're not watching Moto3, you are missing out on probably like the most ascendant star in racing that we've seen probably since Marquez. Pedro Acosta is such a talent. At first I thought it was a bit of a fluke, like race 1 and 2. I was like, oh, this kid just got really lucky. Like, this is crazy. But then I saw what he did this last weekend. Oh my God, dude. Like, oh my God. Did you catch it? What he did in Jerez?
The high side save was just insane.
I know. I was like, how did he stay on that bike? And then the double pass. And then just, it's unbelievable. Yeah, 16 years old, literally with braces. It's crazy.
And he's one of these guys that already when he's there close to the lead at the end, that he's just going to do it. He's just going to do it. Yeah, he could be like in 5th or 6th position, which honestly in Moto3 doesn't mean much, but you're just like, he'll make up ground somehow. He'll find a way through the pack, and he will win. I'm super excited to see what he does at Le Mans. Yeah, completely. Okay, that's all I got, guys. I appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks, man. See ya.
Yep.
Alrighty, up next we got Hamraz BB.
Hey there, Hamraz BB. Let's talk GP.
Get this thing quiet. All right. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
All right. So my questions are: I'm curious. All the cats that had like crashes, right? Sam Lowe's crash a couple weeks back, and then Zarco's crash. Do you think they're going to come back with a vengeance this week and actually bring that consistency? Because they were like spot on consistent for a couple weeks, and then those crashes kind of knocked them out of their groove? Do you think they're going to come back with a vengeance this week?
I would love to see a Zarco come back.
Oh, absolutely.
I know Spite's on Team Zarco. And
I love that guy.
I think, he rides like a wild man. He's great.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just fun to see what he does on that Ducati.
Yeah.
Because it's, he's on
they were burned up. The factory team was just like, oh my God, our satellite team's kicking our ass.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every time Zarco grids up, he's just like, I'm going to prove to Ducati that I should be a factory rider. Like it's just like, there's no reason for me not to be a factory rider. And up until Miller got his win, I think a lot of people were like, Zarco should probably be there and not Miller. But luckily Miller got his win and he kind of squashed some of those, haters. But yeah, I feel like Zarco home field advantage in France. He could do it.
I'm really thinking he's the black sheep that's he's the underdog a lot of people aren't thinking about. I swear he's taking it. He's podium, maybe get first.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Sam Lowe's probably gonna. I'm hoping he comes back. I guess you can see my bias because I own a Triumph and a Ducati. But,
hey, I'm right there with you, man.
But I'm so pumped to see those cats. We already know what Moto3 is gonna happen, so no big deal there.
Yeah, I feel
so
like
good.
What is it here? You want to know a crazy stat, Spite? Is Moto3 Pedro Acosta? There's been 4 races, 100 points on tap total.
Mm-hmm.
Pedro's taken 95 of them. And it is his first season ever in Moto3. He's a rookie. Crazy.
Just like prodigy, like the Mozart of fucking motorcycles.
Yeah, I seriously think we're witnessing like a crazy talent that's coming through. He had a great quote from the other weekend where he was having a post-race interview and Simon was asking him, he was like, oh, how'd your race go and this and that? And he was like, well, I was talking to my crew chief before I went out and, I just went out for 25 minutes and had fun and took the trophy. That's it. That's all I had to do. So he's got a good attitude. I could be
so cool and collected in those situations.
Dude,
I'm like,
I know, right?
I'm like, did I go too fast on that turn? That was a little sketchy. And he's like, just balls to the wall. No, doesn't care.
Yeah, I won a club race last year by having some dude in front of me catch a 5-second penalty, and I took my podium hat and I was like, I'm king of the fucking world!
Cool. Well, we'll all be watching. I'm so pumped for this week. I every week I'm just looking forward to it. We're going to go for a ride, and then we're coming back, me and my buddies, and we're going to watch the races. So let's see.
Yeah,
hopefully
man.
My predictions are right.
Yeah, if you want to keep up to date, the Track Days and Racing News channel on the Discord, we're always in there on GP weekends, just talking about qualifying and free practice in the races too. So I'll be in there.
I find myself on there the most, actually.
Yeah, same. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for calling.
All right, see y'all.
All right, who do we got next?
Next up, we got C Money Diesel, who is not there anymore.
He's
Bummer.
missed his call. And we don't have any calls coming in. Guys, if you want to talk GP or any type of racing in general, doesn't have to be GP, feel free to call. If you don't know anything about it. Oh, he called back. Okay. Hey there, C Money Diesel. You're on the Yamcast. Let's talk GP.
Hey, guys. So I've got kind of a somewhat abstract question.
Okay.
It's, most of the riders in MotoGP are from Spain. So is there something culturally about riding in Spain that's different than the rest of the world? Because, we used to have guys like Nicky Hayden and Colin Edwards. Now there's no Americans. So is there something that they do differently with riding than a lot of the other countries in the world?
So we actually were talking about this on the Track Days channel a few days ago. And I linked to an article on Quora. This guy was talking about it, and it kind of followed up some of my opinions on it. I think there's lots of different things, but I think one thing that Spain does really differently than a lot of other countries is, number one, they have a great passion for motorcycling, which starts everything. But number two, they have literally feeder programs for kiddos to ride and stuff starting at age 2 or 3. So some of these guys like Pedro or Marquez, I mean, they've been on motorcycles since before they could even walk, and they were ripping around a circuit and learning how to ride. They have a junior cup league called the CEV also, where people kind of go up through the ranks starting at age 11 and 12. So they just have a fantastic feeder system to get talent through the ranks. Despite anything to add to that?
I just think Americans only know how to turn left. The fast
That
Americans
is not
only
true.
turn left.
That is not true. Americans used to do really well in GP, man. We used to have the flat track racers go out there, do great, but somehow we kind of lost our ways with it. I want to see an American back in GP soon, man.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Maybe Joe Roberts will get that Aprilia seat. Maybe, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe. Bet he feels stupid for not taking it now.
Yeah, I mean, Alicia's figured it out
Yeah,
somehow.
he's doing pretty good.
The good Espargaro.
Friggin' Paul, dude. Oh, my God. Don't get me started on Paul. Don't get me started on Paul Espargaro, bro. Oh, my God.
My girlfriend hates Paul Espargaro.
Yeah, I've literally taught my girlfriend like a Pavlovian dog. I'm just like, Paul Espargaro is a piss baby. That's all you need to know about GP. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what I think about the Spanish riders. But yeah, I mean, they're so dominant in GP. It's crazy, man. Is that kind of what you've noticed too?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember Mark Marquez's first season, you know, and they were like, "Oh, he can't be on a factory team. You know, he's a rookie." And then he wins the championship for the next 5 years straight.
Yeah, basically every year except for 2015 where he had like 6 DNFs or something.
Yeah,
he won. Yeah, oh man, I actually rewatched the 2013 season on the off season, waiting for 2021, and it's just so crazy because he didn't have any cachet yet. He wasn't Marc Marquez. He was just some rookie upstart, and it's just crazy. Everyone's jaws are kind of on the floor while it's happening, and it's like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, he was unbelievable. Kind of reminds me of what Casey Stoner did too. You know. Which I think if he had had more time, if he hadn't had his illness, he would have had a lot to say to Marc Marquez, I think.
Probably.
He would have had a lot of answers to his questions.
And it's a bummer because Marquez, he's doing really well this season considering, but I'm not doubting him, but I'm on the fence, you know.
I think Marc Marquez at this point, if he has another major accident, it might be career over.
Mm-hmm. I think he's right on that line.
He's right on that line, man. I mean, you saw it with Crutchlow. I mean, you can only get beat up so many times until it's like, you know what? Your body's going to call it a day for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Spanish riders, Pedro Acosta. We're going to keep an eye out for him. So, yeah. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
absolutely. You guys have a good one.
All right, later. All right, we've got a call from Germany 2 Boy, it would seem, he
missed us.
He missed us. Germany 2 Boy, give us a call back. Still talking GP over here. Noticing a significant drop-off in calls. I wonder why. Germany 2 Boy, you're on the Yamcast. How's it going?
How's it going, guys? It's going well for me.
You sound so crispy clean today. Did you get a new mic or something?
Yeah, that's because I have my mic right in front of my mouth.
Oh wow, we're all up in there. what can we do for you? We talking GP or what?
Yeah, I don't know. GP talk. What do you think about cutting like technology and price tag on the MotoGP bikes? Because lately it's getting a bit Formula One crazy from my point of view.
They would all die.
Well, like cutting the cost down?
No,
or?
if they cut the technology on those bikes.
Oh my God, yeah, no. It's at the point now where we were watching a video about seamless shift gearboxes, and Sylvain Gintoli, which puts out awesome stuff on YouTube. He's a Suzuki test rider. He was basically explaining that a MotoGP bike makes so much power that the rear wheel slips in every single gear up to 200 miles per hour. It never really gains traction. It's always kind of spinning. So the electronics are there to make sure, like you said, the riders can even ride the thing, you know? Because I think there's a lot of romanticism about like the 90s and Mick Doohan and the two strokes and, it's all in the throttle hand and this and that. Lap times are lap times.
Yep.
They're out there trying to be the fastest things on two wheels. If electronics gets them there, they get them there. You know?
I mean, you still can't get a robot. Like Yamaha had that thing where they were like, let's get a robot to beat Rossi.
Yeah.
They never quite figured it out.
Yeah.
Because it's just you need the meat right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you still, despite all this technology, those guys are so goddamn talented.
Yeah.
Like, nobody can touch them.
Their brains just work faster and different than ours. Yeah, so I would say the technology has to stay, German A2 boy. I'm sorry. Maybe we can have a
purist class or something.
Purist class, yeah. Everyone rides Ninja 400s to see truly who is the best. You know, honestly, Moto 3 is like that. There's basically no electronics on a Moto 3 bike.
There is actually Superbike 300, Superbike 400. They ride Ninja 400s, R3, RC 390s. That's like very pure.
Yeah, we have that here too. It's the ultra lightweight class. We've got like Ninja 400s and that kind of stuff. That's why I like Twins Cup racing a lot too. There's not much electronics on those bikes. It's really pure and simple. No. My Daytona's kind of like that. It's got nothing on it.
I mean, yeah, you don't really need electronics on a bike like that. I mean, last weekend when I was at that track day thingy, I could just, I mean, I was on road tires and I could just pull up the throttle and I didn't have any fears of the rear slipping out. So
yeah, when I took the Gixxer 250 out to the track a few months ago, you never really have to close the throttle, honestly.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep it open everywhere. And then it's, there's really no roll on or off. It's just kind of like light switch. You know, it's like on or off. You don't really have to really worry about subtlety with it. But yeah, maybe purist class would be interesting. I don't know.
I think it would be different, and it would be a lot slower, and there would be a lot more crashing.
A lot more crashing. Yeah.
So you'd have you wouldn't see the GP guys do it.
No, because what's interesting is a lot of the GP guys have learned to ride with those electronics, right? Like someone like Marquez has gone through basically his entire GP career riding with electronics. So he can only ride a bike in that way, knowing that the bike has his back. You know, he's learned to use those systems. Not to say that he couldn't ride a bike normally. I guarantee you he can, but he's learned to ride it at that crazy elite level using those computers to his aid. Yeah.
I still remember the CBR 1000 RRR SP video that they put out where they had Marquez. I think it was on Jerez.
Yeah.
Where they had him on the CBR and he was just talking his way through a lap going like super fast.
Yeah. Well, he was just like, oh yeah, the power's like pretty good for like an enthusiast. I'm like, that's a 217 horsepower motorcycle. And he's just like dicking around with it being like, oh, it's pretty decent, you know? It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always the point of view you're coming from.
I know. Well, German A2 boy, we'll kind of put you on the spotlight here. You just did your first track day, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't really a track day. It was like a practice instructed track day. Like not a lot of free riding, but a lot of instructed riding.
Nice. Did you enjoy yourself? Was that good?
A lot. I enjoyed it a lot. It was really, really good.
Yeah. I feel like people who are into track day riding and that kind of stuff, like once you do it for the first time, you're just like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and I have to do it all the time. You know, like I have to go back.
I really want to go back. Like, it's a shame that the nearest real track is like 200, 300 kilometers away.
Yikes.
Wow, that's far.
Yeah, northern Germany doesn't really have a lot of tracks.
That's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I assume that Europe is so small that you can just like go to another country and have a track there, but I don't think it works that way.
Actually, the nearest track from my city is in Denmark, so yeah.
Well, then again, I am right. There we go. Meanwhile, here in Texas, you can drive straight for 8 hours and you're still in the same state. You don't leave.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There was a kid there on a 125. And that guy was fast, like really damn fast. I mean, he said he was doing track days since he was 12.
There's always that kid out there, man. There's always a kid like that.
He started on like an NC 75, like the tiny 75cc two-stroke from Honda, I think. That was like his first bike when he was 12. He rode that for a year, switched to a 125, and since then, I think now he's on a Gixxer 600 and doing I think it's called Moto Masters or something. It's like a racing series, a small one.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm
That-
100%
that guy
doing that
was-
with my kids.
Yeah.
Gonna do that.
Like that guy outrode a Panigale V2.
Yep,
Like
I could see that.
outright. I mean, I was faster than that V2, but still. that guy was.
Just German 2
Really,
dropping the flex in there. He's like, yeah, I was fast in the panty. You know, whatever. That's all
Yeah, but
good.
the guy on the penny was like 55, so yeah.
Yeah.
We'll cut him some slack.
Yeah, he pulls in the pits and he's like, I'm on a Panigale. Fuck you.
Yeah. Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in. I think we're going to wrap up the call-in section. We'll see you on the meme contest.
Bye-bye, guys.
All
Nice
right.
talking to you.
See ya. All right, everyone. That wraps up my self-indulgent GP section for the Yamcast this week. I had to do it to you. Sometimes I got to do things I like to do, too, around here, you know. But now we're going to move on to the meme contest of the week. All right, everyone, welcome to this week's meme contest. Now, this one has a bit of a fun twist on it. We decided it would be fun to open up the powers of YouTube to our Discord audience and have them create thumbnails for us. So this week, Spite provided some loose guidelines that said, make us a thumbnail for a potential video in the future, and we're going to see what they came up with. I've heard there's some pretty good images up for grabs today.
Yeah, so we used one of the videos that we were working on, the one we shot today, which was excuses metric cruiser riders use, except this is kind of the concept changed between inception and filming, which it often does. So we gave them things metric cruiser riders say. And I was like, this is going to be the video. Make us a thumbnail. All it needs to be is 16 by 9. Go have fun.
Cool.
And so we're grading them today on, let me pull up the picture-in-picture.
Clickability.
Yes, we're grading them on clickability.
Now I feel like you and I are very well equipped to talk about that.
Yes. And then creativity, because
That's literally how we come up with some of our videos. We think about how clickable and how interesting it's going to be to people.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I wanted to bring in clickability here.
Great.
And creativity, because
Awesome.
you know, the clickability is really hard to get.
It is.
It's really hard to get.
People think it's easy doing this YouTube thing. It's not easy. It is not easy making a title and a thumbnail that grabs people's attention and
Yeah.
just skirts the line between controversial and not too controversial.
Just calling the 2021 Hayabusa an utter disappointment. Big red block with white text.
Yeah.
Okay, so diving in with our first entrant, we have Seda Seth here with
Okay.
a really solid thumbnail entry right here.
Man, it's like people could just like nail our style so easily. It's like it's almost not that difficult to make a thumbnail for us. So this is nice. It's got me with a little Stoke in the background, some the block text like we like to do. So the title of the video is what is it? Things that metric guys, cruiser guys say. And
Yep.
It's me saying, "Here's the truth." Okay, pretty good.
Yeah.
Notice the image in the background doesn't look, too sharp. Doesn't look over sharpened or hyper saturated, which you want to see for a thumbnail. You know, you want to get that crazy pop, right? How do you feel about it?
I think that there's two things that hold it back. It's a Gucci, which is a little bit tough. It's not super identifiable. And the "here's the truth" is in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
I feel
because
like
you're gonna get covered up with the timestamp on the bottom right there.
Yep. The structure is really good though.
Yeah.
And the idea is sound, but there's a couple of issues with it.
Yeah.
So I think clickability here. What would you rate this one?
I think this is a 6.5 for clickability.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
one where we'd be like, you got the kernel is there.
Yeah.
Make these edits. So that's a 6.5 for clickability. Now creativity here.
Pretty creative, I would say. I think it fits the mold. If this were to be in the Yami lineup, it wouldn't look out of place. So I think the creativity is probably pretty good there. But at the same time, it is just, I feel like it's hard for me to gather what the video is going to be about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not super. You can't really just look at the thumbnail and be like, this is the video.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe 6.5 here too.
I think a 6.5, yeah. And this is really funny because like I remember when you started working at Yami Noob, and this still happens only up until recently. We still do this thing where like you'll send me thumbnails and I'm like, oh, it's not like pulling me in, it's not grabbing me. Everything's very like artsy about it at times. It's equal parts arts and science. I would say we kind of know what works, but at the same time, when you see a good thumbnail, it's a good thumbnail. Yeah.
But every now and again, you're like, go back to the drawing board on that one.
Yeah.
It's happened a little bit less lately, which makes me feel pretty good about it. So next up, we've got Ride Red, Bleed Blue.
Okay.
With an interesting one here. Now, we've got...
So the video is excuses that Metric Cruiser guys do.
Yeah,
and
or
then
things they say.
And they said, is that a real bike? Question mark, Harley Davidson, Imposter Motors. I don't know about this one.
This is kind of a chaotic thumbnail.
Yeah.
Because we also got to think about scrunching it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, what I do is I squint at a thumbnail to see what's capturing my attention, and I feel like the South Park meme is the thing that draws me in most because it's the highest contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little confusing, so...
I feel like the clickability on this one's not really there.
I don't think so. And this would look very out of place on the Yami lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for that one, clickability here,
I'm going to give it a 4.
A 4, yeah. Creativity, though.
Decently creative. I like the Imposter Motors thing. I don't understand why the Harley has a halo over it.
This is a Vulcan 900.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me just commit die right now. I just called the Vulcan
just saying
a Harley.
That right there.
Yeah, I want a 5.
A 5.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Fog.
All right,
who
Fog.
had a little bit of a stumble last week.
All right. It's got a VMAX. It's got the guy pointing. It says, it's a VMAX. Spy, how you feeling about this one?
I could see this being a thing we would talk about in the list. Be like, it's not a V-Rod, it's a VMAX.
Yeah. It's a bit of a layered thing, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's what he's trying to say, but a shrimp-brained YouTube commenter reviewer would not know that. So, it might be, you gotta...
This one's
I also feel like the classical guy's way too big.
Yeah.
He's way too big. Why, is it about him? Like it almost feels like he's going to be the one that's telling you the thing,
I feel like the way this should have been is we should have gotten a side-on shot of the VMAX. We've gotten a cutout, like a PNG of just the guy. Have him coming in like the first one we had.
Yeah.
With the it's a VMAX thing in there.
And then the VMAX should have been in quotes so that we know the guy is saying that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that would have helped it along. So now we have to grade you horribly because we fixed your thumbnail for you.
So, clickability here.
Yeah, I got to give it like a 5, I think, because it's a little... I see where it's going, but it's, it needs some tweaking for sure.
Yeah, it's a little tough. Creativity, though.
I think it's pretty creative. I get the thing that you're going for. I think a 7.
A 7.
7's pretty good. Yeah.
I think that's 12 is a better entry than a 0.
Yeah, that's definitely not a 0. Yeah. We've had some of those in the past that we had to...
I think we zeroed him out last week.
Oh, did we zero out Fog last
Yeah.
week? Oh, Fog, I'm so sorry, man. You did much better this week.
So, next up we've got Delhi.
Okay. So here from Delhi, we've got one guy who's got a weird thing on his head, and he says it's not the size. Another guy over there says how you ride it.
And that's a V-Star 250?
Oof, the baby V-Star. And the other one looks like a
Rebel
parallel
250.
twin, a Rebel 250. Oh, my God. That's brutal.
It's not the size, it's how you ride it. I could see that being...
Yeah, I could see a metric guy saying that. And I kind of like the dorky kind of metric cruiser thing going on there on the side. I mean, that's what we're doing for our actual thumbnail. That's what we're going for.
Nerds.
Yeah, friggin' nerds. I like the idea a lot. I think the execution could have been a little better.
Yeah, I feel like this is... You have a really good solid kernel here, but you need to...
I think if you had found the right, the photo on the right's substantially better and clearer than the photo on the left. So if you took that photo and crafted a thumbnail around that theme and, put put maybe both of these words on top and the bottom of the guide or something, maybe that could have been good. Yeah. That could have been like really good. But right now the execution is a little poor.
So I think here for clickability, we got to give it
quite low. I think it's not very clickable. I think like a 4.
A 4.
Yeah.
But the creativity here, I think that's where it comes back
for sure. Yeah, I think a 7 for creativity personally.
Yeah. So that's an 11 from Delhi. Next up, we've got Dragon Cowboy. I'm actually going to make sure that. Yep, we're still in picture.
Christian Hostler on stream here says that Fog had a 1,200% improvement. Good job, Fog. Hell yeah. Massive gains, bro.
Yep. Next time he'll just be like right through the roof.
We're like, this is the first 38 we've ever given a single entry.
Alrighty. So next up we've got Dragon Cowboy.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
We're working with some strong stuff here.
This is good. This is what you like to see in a thumbnail is clarity. You're reducing the noise of the image. If I squint, I can still see this is some dude carving up a twisty, carving up a racetrack on this crazy bike, and then, quote, sportiest. That's where I'm getting a little confused.
I would say, because he's getting to the point that they're sportier motorcycles. They handle better. You could theoretically take one to a track. So I feel like we need to work on the words. And
because he's doing the same thing the other one with the VMAX thing did. He's too deep in it, right?
Yeah.
Too many layers deep in it. You got to bring it back up. You gotta if your whole thing is about metrics being sportier, you should say in parentheses like so much sportier, or way better, right? Like because sportiest tells me that is it that bike that's the sportiest, or it's a little confusing, right? That's how I feel.
Metric bikes handle better or something like that. Like get that kernel down to a couple of words and then use that image. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's a good image. That's a crazy image actually. It's like you got like what is the T-bars almost on those? It's nuts.
And he's leaned way the hell off that bike too.
Yeah.
So that's a great image to use. So for Dragon Cowboy, clickability here.
Pretty good clickability, honestly. I want to give it like a 7 for clickability.
Just changing that wording around would have gotten it to
really,
a solid 10. Creativity here.
What do you think?
I think like a 6 here, a 6 or a 6.5. It's
I think a 6.
Close. It's really close.
I think a 6 is there.
So that's a 13. Next up, we've got Zombie Dude 1988 with this one.
Okay, so here's a perfect example of a thumbnail that if it was executed a little bit better would be basically perfect.
Yes.
Right? Because like you've got the guy on the Bolt. Everyone can see that's a Bolt.
Yep.
And then the quote, it's basically a Sportster in kind of like a silly font style like that. I mean, that's it. That's really, honestly, what you'd need. You don't need the SpongeBob and the Harley thing, which is funny, but if you took that away and then made the red part bigger and probably slanted a little to the side, covering him up a little bit, if you wanted to get fancy with it, you could layer him over the text to make it a little bit more, better. The background is nice and blurry. He pops really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be there.
Yep.
You'd be there for sure.
It's just like basically a Sportster in quotes on there, like a big box that's slightly slanted in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah.
You're done.
That's it. But that's not what you did. So
yep.
That was brutal. All right. Execution again was an issue on that one, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, the clickability's really close.
It's close. Yeah, I want to give the clickability a 6 because it's difficult to read it, but it could be there.
Yep.
That's why I think for creativity, I want to give it like it's 7.5 because it's really good because that is something that Metric Cruiser guys say, right? It's basically a Sportster and a silly font.
Yep.
Like, that's good. That's good.
So that's a 7.5 there, which is 13.5. New leader. Next up is Squid Ceviche.
Very good username.
Yeah, he won something last week. So unfortunately, he is on cooldown. But he does
it for the love of the game.
This one.
Now, that's good.
That's good.
That's really good. The only issue with it is, again, the text is on the bottom right, so the timestamp would cover it up. But this is great, honestly.
Yes.
This is really good. And I like the very small little subtle touches here. You got the Yamanube logo on the tank. You've got the I Am Manscaped thing on the license plate. That's kind of funny.
Kawasimpin right here and the H2 logo on the back.
And he's got the kind of cartoon text bubble thing there. Honestly, this is super good. This is like top tier thumbnail material.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for clickability here, pretty high.
Pretty high. 8.5?
Yeah.
8.5, yeah. Maybe even a 9.
I feel like 8.5 just because the words would be covered up.
That's true. The words would be covered up, and there's 2 sets of words too. So
yeah,
you also just want to. You usually want to have just one. You know.
Creativity here though.
High.
Really good.
I think a 9 or an 8.5 as well.
I think a 9.
Yeah, really good. And I like the subtle touches too and everything else.
That would be a 17.5 for
That's
Squid Ceviche.
Powerful.
That is a powerful entry.
Powerful.
Next one is Use House again from last week. Beginner Biscotti Boy ?
So this is excuses or things that metric cruiser guys say, and I'm kind of pointing at the Diavol there. There's a Diavol, right? Yeah, it's a Diavol. It says beginner Biscotti Boy ? I don't think that relates too much to metric cruisers, right?
Yeah, I think it's
because we normally associate metric cruisers like big four, kind of dorky, you know.
But I mean, we did include the BMW today.
That's true. Yeah, I guess the Diavol is it feels weird to call a Diavol a metric cruiser. Right? It's a Diavol.
It's still an Italian sport bike.
Yeah.
I feel like that one it's a little rough.
I feel like it's too much of me in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
But I like the you see the thought process behind making the background blurrier, making something pop hard. The idea is there for sure.
Yep.
I see it. I definitely see it.
Just needs to work this
You'd probably want
a
a different motorcycle and a different set of text, and probably make me smaller. There's a couple things you'd want to do, so we can't rate it super high. But yeah, let's go ahead and rate this one. Clickability, I think like a 5.5.
Yeah,
because it doesn't really make sense for the metric thing.
Creativity,
what do you think? Like a 6?
Yeah, I think we can see where he was going, but
yeah,
it was tough. Next one is Asocial.
All right. I bet it's going to be good. So we got a big Triumph Rocket 3 there. And a scantily clad woman, which, hey, for an audience of 97% males, sometimes it just works for thumbnails, guys. I'm just going to put that out there. And that's kind of funny. You know, it's a funny thing. So the video is excuses or things that metric cruiser guys say. So this is most likely the owner's sister.
I think it's dogging on the thing I'm reading here is that the metric cruiser guys have a hot chick in their thumbnail or their photo on Facebook, but they got their sister to do it.
Yeah.
Which is in an idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like it's more Harley guys that do that.
That is true, yeah. But maybe he's making the dig that, you know, it's metric cruiser guys. They don't have hot girls near their bikes. It's probably just the guy's sister type of thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's the thing. But this ambiguity is leading me to maybe not rate it as high.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a little confusing. And the
Scott, the guy who made it, said it's exactly what you said, not what I said. So I was wrong. But again, the ambiguity maybe makes it tough, you know?
And I think that the words are too low. They're covering the bike.
Yeah, you usually don't want to cover the bike. You'd want to put the words up higher so that the bike can be seen. But I like the fact the background's nice and blurry. Bike pops. You got a hot chick there. Always good for clicks. Everyone knows this. Boom, boom, boom. You know?
Yep.
Bam. All right,
so,
let's rate this.
Clickability.
Again, I think a scantily clad woman does help the clicks, so I want to start at least with the 6, right?
Yep.
I like the blurry. I like the text. How about a 6.5?
A 6.5. And creativity.
I think also a 6.
A 6. I agree. So that's a 12.5. Next up, we have Soulless Soldier. with... Oh, I missed it. There it is.
Oh, excuse me, I had to yawn. Soulless Soldier here with my face popping up over there. It's the best bike ever built, and it's a Vulcan 650. Spy, why don't you go ahead and just give this guy a 0 and a 0? No, this is good. This is, the execution, again, is a little rough, but the kernel of the idea, as you like to say, is really there.
Yes.
Vulcan 650 guys would say it's the best bike ever built because they have told us it's the best bike ever built because they never shut the fuck up in the comments about it. So we know that.
And I think this would hook those Vulcan boys in, and they would be there.
They'd be there just simping and supporting and being in there. Yeah. No, that's, I get it. All right.
I think it needs a better
I feel
picture.
like this is like the worst photo of a Vulcan I've ever seen, though.
Yep.
Right? Like the shadows are in the wrong place. It's at a weird angle.
Like if I was looking for the Vulcan for this one, I would have.
Last photo I'd pick.
Yeah, I need some dude trying to take a corner on it or something like that.
And then it's the best bike ever built. Yeah, no, that would work pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So clickability here. Of this image, it's low.
Of that image, it's low. I want to give that image like a 5.
Mm-hmm.
But the creativity and the idea, I want to give it like a 7.5.
A 7.5.
It's good.
Yep. 12.5 there. We're going to have some runoffs today.
Yep.
Next one, A1 Aces. This is this one.
All right, A1 Aces here has apparently a sidecar of some sort. The first metric cruiser, Rikuo 97, was a Harley. It cost less, was reliable, and had a machine gun.
This feels more like a meme than a thumbnail.
Yeah, this is more. Just about what I was about to say. It's more of a meme than a thumbnail. Possibly an accurate and funny meme, but yeah,
the bike is interesting.
Who doesn't love a sidecar with a turret on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good.
I feel like that would cause some folks to click on it, but the word, like, too many words. Too hard to, like, scooch it down.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and the fact that the text box is the same color as the bike, it looks like you had a little eyedropper tool that you use that for, which, fair play, always a cool move to do, but not good for thumbnails because it doesn't pop as hard. You always want to have a contrasting color against your main subject so that our stupid shrimp brains see the contrasting colors. Like, oh, this looks interesting. Let me click on it, This, if I squint, just looks like a sort of taupey beige mess,
Yep.
And the background's that same color, too.
Yeah, it all kind of blurs together a little bit.
Yeah. Very it looks like a very arty photo, but for a thumbnail, no good.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't working for me.
So, clickability here.
It's low. I think like a 2.5, honestly.
Yep. And creativity?
The creativity is good, but the kernel of the idea doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I think, because you're not activating the psychological impulses of the cruiser guys or the metric cruiser guys. You're telling me about some old bike that I may or may not know about. So it doesn't really fit the video idea. So
Yep.
what do you think, like a 4?
I think like a 4,
Yeah.
Next up, we've got German A2 Boy. Back at it once again.
All right. German A2 Boy with density here. What the balls even is a CUI? I think that's cubic inches.
Inch. Yeah.
And then that's a Yamaha that he's riding. Got the United States with eyeballs. Got a 10mm socket.
Mm-hmm.
And then old Spite there in the corner. There's a lot going on in this image.
Yeah.
There's a little too much going on,
I feel like we drop the American flag and we drop the Spite and we throw the 10mm up where I am.
Yeah.
And we're closer.
Yeah. I think with those changes, we'd be pretty good. Because, then you got the 10mm, it's metric, people know that.
And the goofing on cubic inches.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think, again, but the quotation marks would help as if the writer's saying, like, what even is a cubic inch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is that? That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good, German A2 Boy. Not bad.
So, clickability here of this image.
Clickability of this image. I would give this one, as it sits right now, a 4.5.
Mm-hmm. And creativity, though.
pretty good creatively. Again, we got to make a couple changes, but I think like a 6. Maybe.
A 6.
Yeah.
This is a hard contest.
This is a difficult
one. So we are seeing some lower scores this week. Flip Moto has one for us next, which looks like the cover photo for an article.
It does, yeah. It really does. Okay. Rebel without a clutch, the emotionally confused anti-cruiser. It's got a diagram of the engine there and the transmission. And then the Rebel over there. This could work as a thumbnail. I like it. It's for my taste, and thumbnails, again, they're equal parts artistry and science. For my taste, a bit too many words.
Yep.
I like the Rebel without a clutch thing, but to your point, yeah, it looks like a cool like magazine article type of thing.
There goes Bob with the lights.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's tough.
I don't like the subtext. I feel like you could maybe work this. Well, the problem is this feels more like a Rebel video, right?
Yeah, it feels like a video
about
dogging on the Rebel.
Which it's not exactly the title of the video. The title of the video is things that Metro Cruiser guys say or excuses that Metro Cruiser guys say, right?
Yeah.
So
this is like we're dogging on the Rebel, not defending the Rebel.
Yeah, it's not quite there, I would say.
Yep. So for this one, clickability,
it was very well done. If you notice, go back to over there. He's got the H and clutch underneath the wheel.
Yep.
So he definitely layered that up, and he put a little bit of effort into that, which is cool. He stoked that engine. He kind of did that whole thing. That's nice. I'd say the clickability for this, as it sits right now, given the title of the video, is kind of low. I'm going to give this like a 4 for the clickability.
Yep. Creativity, it's up there.
I think so. What do you want to give it?
I feel like a 6.5 if we start removing if we run bottom text alone or we run top text alone.
I think 6.5 is fair.
Then we're getting somewhere with a thumbnail.
Yeah.
So that's another 10.5. Next up, we've got Millennial Malaise.
Let's see it. One of our master meme makers. All right, it's got a dense image. He's got a guy down there saying, "Get a load of this guy," pointing at it. And then the text on the Vulcan is unreadable to me even at this size. It says, "My other bike is
Prius."
A Prius. And then it says, "Just as good," hashtag. It's got a juice box. Someone looking off in the distance. There's you in the distance.
Yeah, crying.
Yeah, the crying. There's George Costanza saying Heritage is marketing. Again, this is a better meme than a thumbnail.
Yep.
I feel like we challenged the boys too much this week.
This is tough because
this is tough. Yeah.
I feel like if we had the "Get a load of this guy" bigger, and it was some dude like he was making fun of a Harley, like some dude like in a big Harley pirate outfit.
Yeah.
There's more there.
Yeah, but now you're coming up with a whole different idea for it, right?
Yep.
As it sits right now as a thumbnail,
it's tough.
That's not working for me.
Yeah.
Way too much going on.
And especially when you start smooshing it down, you lose all the details.
Yeah, and the through line here is Heritage is marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what metric cruiser guys say?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, right?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I think this, again, it's a better meme than a thumbnail.
It's true. Someone on chat here said, when the meme contest becomes a graphic design seminar. I'm trying to you guys get a free lesson here right now on how to YouTube. Despite now, I've probably made between us like 900 fucking thumbnails, so I think we know what we're doing here.
I still just kind of wing it sometimes.
I operate on pure feel for thumbnails. I'm like, this'll work.
Just thumb in the wind, being like, this feels good. So Millennial Malaise here, clickability.
It's low, man. I think I want to give it like a 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too many little details.
Creativity.
I didn't understand the through line on it, honestly. 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Millennium Malaise. Better luck next time.
Last up, we have Driftin' Fish.
Driftin' Fish. Let's see it.
This
is good. Yeah. So here's the thing. If we look at the other thumbnail we just looked at, there was a lot going on with it. You had all these different kind of elements in it. You had the little text here and there, blah blah blah. You look at this one, focused. It's focused, right? I don't love the drop shadow on the text, but that's little stuff. The focus here is good.
Yep.
And it's great too because it can function both as a meme or a thumbnail, really.
Yep. And for a Yammy Noob video, a meme thumbnail, pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Again, I think you would just want to tighten. I think the photo is great because it's so clear, but it's a little cheap looking. So you'd want something a little bit with more pizzazz, right? That's why we like using the blurred backgrounds and some of the more dynamic, action-y kind of photos.
Yep.
You could get the same kind of. Oh, there goes the camera. Oh, we'll use this one over here. You could get the same effect with that kind of photo, but if you get something that's a little bit more expensive looking, you get more clickability out of it.
Yep.
And everyone's familiar with the, we have the thing at home meme format, so that works too.
Yeah. So I think we have a solid basis to jump off with here.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
So clickability.
This is like a 7.5 or an 8 for me.
I agree.
It's pretty clickable. 7.5. Yeah.
7.5. And creativity.
Honestly, pretty creative. I think I also want to give it a 7.5.
I agree. 7.5.
Yeah.
That's a 15.
All right. Who is number one?
So number one goes to Squid Ceviche.
Oh, way out in front. 17.5 on the
He pulled a
leaderboard
Fabio.
here. Pulled a Fabio. Clocked it clean in.
The only
That's
problem
first place.
is he is on cooldown.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
Yep.
So
So
second place goes to
Driftin'
Fish.
Well,
All right.
actually, that would be first place.
Oh, first place. Yeah,
Yep.
excuse me.
And second place then would go to Zombie Dude 1988 at 13.5.
Boom.
That would be our second place entry. And
Third place, we have a runoff between Dragon Cowboy and Seda Seth. All right.
So let's pull up Dragon Cowboy. Or Seda Seth was our first one.
Honestly, not a bad thumbnail.
Yep.
It's good,
It's
Not
really
only the
good.
fact that it's in our exact style, but it's also just a good thumbnail in general, I would say.
And then Dragon Cowboy was this one.
Oh, okay. This is tough.
Yep.
Yeah, this is tough. His is more concise and cleaner.
Yep.
But we can dock points for this one because it's not in the right aspect ratio.
Yep.
This isn't like a 4:3, right?
Yep, this is 4:3. We needed 16:9.
If I 16:9, I think it has to go to Seda Seth.
Yep, on that technicality.
Yep.
So Seda Seth is our third place winner.
Oh, and he's on stream. He said, "Hey, nice, congratulations, Seda Seth. You have won third place. You didn't win outright.
Got himself a T-shirt.
Got yourself a T-shirt." Well, thank you, everyone, for watching this week's Yamcast. I think it was a bit of a different one because, like many people said here on chat, this ended up being like a Skillshare type of thing or a seminar. But hopefully you learned something. We have these kind of conversations every week as we develop content here on Yammy Noob. And maybe you saw that it is not as easy as it looks sometimes. Sometimes you jump in and it gets a little bit harder. So thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later. You've made it to the end of a Yammy Noob video. Did you like what you saw? Do you want to see more of it? Check it out, right here, just like magic, waiting for you. Click this little square right here. More memes, more Yammy, more of my face. Isn't that great?